It is the News Blitz with Randy Wang on Talk Radio 790 KABC. We're here every single day from 5 to 6 talking about the local issues that matter to you most and taking your phone calls at 800-222-5222, 1-800-222-5222, your emails at randywangradio@gmail.com, and search for the KABC News Blitz wherever you get your podcasts. And in true fashion with the name News Blitz, something that I want to start doing is giving you a quick little recap on all the stuff I listened to this morning. See, every single morning I get up around 6, maybe 7, depends how much I sleep in. And after I feed the dogs, I start going through all of my sources. And as I've said, 100% of my show prep is based on YouTube. It is just since I got into this business, I have been using YouTube for show prep, but it is how I navigate the internet. It's how I navigate what matters. And I am subscribed to every local news channel in Southern California. So that would be Channel 7, Channel 2/9, Channel 5, Channel 11, Channel 4. I'm also subscribed to all of the local news channels in the Bay Area. ABC 7 in the Bay, NBC Bay, KPIX, Cron 4, KTVU Fox 2. I'm also subscribed to all of the channels in San Diego, whether that be CBS 8, NBC 7, ABC 10 San Diego. And I get a lot of information from those. I got the Sacramento station, CBS Sacramento, KCRA 3, one that we use a lot, Fox 40. I'm also subscribed to channels in the Central Valley like ABC 30 and CBS 47. And there's even channels that I'm subscribed to, but I don't get a lot of stuff from because they're in the parts of California where not a lot of news happens, like Monterey County or Santa Barbara County. But just in case something does, I go through every single day on my subscriptions. I get a blue dot if there's new stuff. And then I check out what the new stuff is. And then I add it to what's called my Watch Later tab. So on YouTube, you have a playlist called Watch Later, and it's great. So I load up everything that I think might be relevant. Then I go on my morning walk around 8:30 or 9 o'clock. I leash up the dogs, and then I put on my Ray-Ban Meta sunglasses, the ones that have speakers in them. You could also just, use earbuds, but I like these things because they have speakers, but I can still hear what's going on. If there's, a barking dog running at my 2 little dogs, I'm still aware of my surroundings, but I'm able to entertain myself. And then I start listening. And I'll listen to almost an entire story unless it's like, I can tell already it's going to be a good crime blotter. So what I want to make sure I do is that I don't spoil myself, but okay, that one's going to be good. It's going to be great. Or if I can tell within 30 seconds, okay, there's a better version of this story, because sometimes I will download, Channel 7, Channel 5, and Channel 2 all have the same story, but who has the best rap? Sometimes that's within length. Sometimes that's within who did they talk to on the man on the street. So I'm doing a lot of comparing and contrasting. And then, of course, I also flag stuff from politicians and committee hearings. And gosh, on the way home today, I was listening to a climate debate between Katie Porter, Eric Swalwell, Javier Becerra, and Tom Steyer. And I don't get paid enough to listen to that nonsense, but I still did it. I did it for you. So anyway, I listen to my stuff in the morning, and then I decide, okay, these are the things that are making what we call the cut sheet. And for 7 years, I have had the cut sheet. And although for many years it was just an email that I was sending to Johnny, and then I would copy and paste and have to scroll all the things that we didn't get to, I recently updated it to a Google Sheet. And now I have a very easy way for me to track stuff that we've played on the Noon to 3 show, stuff that we played on this show. But it also occurred to me while I was on my walk that this also be a great way for me to just recap you what's going on in the state of California every day. Because while I don't have time to play you every single one of these raps in a 1-hour show, I can tell you what they are, and I can tell you where they are in case you're interested. I'm telling you, YouTube is such a great resource, especially if you're active on social media and you want to be sharing these things to let people know what's going on. So we're going to start doing this every single day until I get bored of it. But since I already have the cut sheet out, let me tell you what's on it. And let's start with Southern California. Matthew Sedor from Fox 11 had a great piece. And by the way, he was a guest on the 2 o'clock hour of the John Phillips show. I was filling in, and he is awesome. But in Lynwood, this is wild. There were some TSA agents just having dinner at a restaurant. And somebody saw an official uniform, assumed they were ICE, called the Rapid Response Network. All of a sudden, there were all kinds of protesters and riffraff and people screaming and hollering against not ICE agents, TSA agents. They got it wrong. And then when the news cameras came, they're like, oh, Fox 11, that's Fox. We're not talking to you. And then the person from the Rapid Response Organization that blew this call that is causing all kinds of ruckus for nothing told everyone in the restaurant, don't talk to Fox 11. Ridiculous. Fox 11 and KTVU Fox 2 are going to be doing a gubernatorial candidate forum in a couple of days. It airs on Tuesday, and it is going to have some candidates, not a lot of candidates, because there's too many right now. But they did some pre-debate interviews that aired on Fox 11, including with Betty Yee, who's still in this thing, and Tony Thurmond, who's still in this thing. I think that debate is going to have, if I could do this off the top of my head, this is incredible. Betty Yee, Tony Thurmond, Javier Baccaria, scrub-a-dub-dub.
But when you do the scrub, scrub it.
Eric Swalwell, Steve Hilton, and I think Mr. Peanut.
No, Peanut.
So if they post interviews from Antonio Villaraigosa or Becerra, I'll be sure to grab those as well. But Betty Yee and Tony Thurmond is funny because I'm shocked that Betty Yee and Tony Thurmond are still in this race. These are two of the people that announced they were running for governor, I think going back to 2024. They have gained zero traction. I can't imagine what their fundraising is, but they're still there. I guess they're waiting for someone who's gaining traction to offer them something for their endorsement. But what does their endorsement matter when nobody knows who they are? Now, when it comes to what's going on in the Bay Area today, it's interesting. Today was the day that Matt Mahan, the mayor of San Jose, announced that he's running for governor. And what's funny about that is, well, we covered that extensively on the Noon to 3 show. It was funny that the day that Matt Mahan announces he's running for governor, in the last 24 hours, there have been quite a few crime stories in San Jose. And this isn't tying anything. Crime stories happen all the time. It's the third biggest city in California. It's just interesting how that timing works sometimes. So there was a big gambling ring bust, which, by the way, go San Jose PD. There's an arsonist who's been on the loose for weeks now in San Jose. That's not very good. And KPIX did an update on that jewelry store owner that was the victim of that smash and grab where he got concussed. Now, another very interesting story, we might cover this one later on in the show, is Tesla made a huge announcement in Fremont, which was their original Tesla plant. And right now, that's where they manufacture the Model S, which is the fancier Model 3, and the Model X, which is the mini SUV. They're going to be ending production of Teslas in that Tesla plant. They're not closing down the plant. No. They're expanding the plant. And what are they doing? They are turning it into a robot factory. The future is here. The future is now. I have more to say on that, but I think we're going to put that one on tonight's show because that's a fun one. Now, public transit and getting around is a topic that matters in Southern California and Northern California. And while we're starting to see an increase in ridership in the Bay Area, despite all the issues with BART and their shutdowns and management being really weird about doing things like cleaning for dust in the tunnels, which led to fires and shutdowns last year, ridership is up. But there's a lack of parking spaces, which is making it difficult to get to a BART station unless you're in walking distance. But now one of the things that they're promoting is, hey, if you have the BART app, you can order an Uber on there. But I'm just curious, how much is the Uber ride from your house to the BART station? I mean, 7 miles or less, maybe it's not a lot, but then it's like if you're already in the Uber, how much more is it going to be to take you the whole way? It's just, we'll see what happens there. Also, San Francisco traffic is getting a lot worse, which is good. I guess it means more people are coming back to the city, although I can't imagine it's any worse than Los Angeles. What am I kidding? I've been in San Francisco traffic. It's pretty bad. The thing is, once you're in San Francisco, you don't really need to worry about it. It's getting in and out of San Francisco that's a nightmare. Also, there's been this fight on the 101 freeway north of San Francisco in Marin County, where all of a sudden, the 101 freeway, Caltrans put in these carpool lanes and these carpool hours, and it took away a lane from traffic, and it was driving residents crazy. Well, almost a year into them complaining, they're finally getting their way, and Caltrans is changing the hours on that. So, every once in a while, you can yell and scream and complain, and the state agencies will pay attention to you. And in Oakland, a bakery is closing, but not due to what you think. It's not due to crime. No, no, no. Don't you think that it has nothing to do with that?
I said, hell no, baby boy. Let me get up on out of here.
No. The Bay Area Bakery in Oakland is closing because of high labor costs and ingredient costs, which makes sense. Now, ingredient costs, that's a harder one to figure out, but labor costs, yes, it is getting very expensive to pay people. And then his daughter was going to have a baby, and is like, I can't afford to do all this. Now, in Sacramento, we played for you on the Noon to 3 show the Matt Mahan interview with Ashley Zavala, which is very interesting. Matt Mahan is running for governor. He's the very centrist, center-left, but very, very much like if Rick Caruso was going to run, but he also had mayoral experience, which is interesting because Rick Caruso posted on social media an endorsement of Matt Mahan and said that he told Matt Mahan to run, which hopefully means if Rick Caruso truly believes that Matt Mahan would be the best candidate for governor, that Rick Caruso ponies up. Whatever money you were going to spend on your own campaign, a portion of that is going to need Matt Mahan to get some name ID, because people listening to this station might know his name, but he doesn't have a whole lot of name ID outside of the Bay Area and in Southern California is where a lot of voters are, and a lot of voters who have no idea what's going on. So we'll see what's going on with that. Another piece on KCRA 3 that is interesting is Ashley Zavala has made one of her very, very, very passion projects the fact that the state of California operates with non-disclosure agreements when it comes to legislation. Like, everything should be transparent when it comes to crafting bills, right? You should know who is deciding what and why. Well, when the state of California put together that fast food minimum wage law, which for some reason didn't apply to Panera Bread, they were using NDAs when negotiating with all the unions for the minimum wages. And that raised a whole lot of red flags. Why? Well, after a whole lot of investigating, one member of the legislature, Joe Patterson, a Republican, has put forth a bill to ban NDAs in the legislature. We'll see if it actually passes. Now, San Diego has had a lot of interesting news, and we had my buddy Phil Moriello from the California Underground podcast on the Noon to 3 show. You can check out that podcast at kabc.com. But how great is this? We have been talking about how insane San Diego is. We've been talking about how crazy San Diego has been getting with the city council and the mayor nickel and diming, feeing and taxing constantly. Well, I got some good news for you. One of the things that Sean Elo Rivera, who is the most anti-business member of the city council, has been putting forth is this bill that would have taxed second homes, vacation homes, and short-term rentals. And I think the first proposal was like $5,000 to $8,000 per bedroom. And he said he needed to do this because all these companies are buying up homes and putting them on Airbnb. And turns out the majority of short-term rental owners are people who live in San Diego that have a second property or a back house or something. So he had put forth this proposal. It went before committee today. So many people showed up and talked about how awful this is that it died in committee. They even tried to change it and tried to soften it and make it only affect corporations. It still died. I feel like we're finally at a point where the city council in San Diego is scared because people are mad. People are rising up and they are saying enough is enough with the constant fee hikes. And that includes what's going on at Balboa Park, which we've been covering extensively, where Balboa Park was free for all forever, going back over almost 150 years. But because San Diego's budget is bloated, much like Los Angeles, what happened? They decided instead of cutting their budget and cutting all the nonsense and, cutting their salaries, which I don't know if you know this, but the mayor and the city council of San Diego, thanks to a ballot initiative a few years ago, get raises every year. Instead of worrying about that, they started charging for parking at Balboa Park. And people got furious. And every news station out there was covering this every single day. And it wasn't just the residents that were pissed. The mayors of all the surrounding cities were pissed. The museums inside Balboa Park were pissed. You know why? Because they were losing revenue, because people aren't going. They literally have a program at some of these parks called Free Tuesdays, where one of the museums every Tuesday is free entry. And no one would go because they didn't want to have to pay for parking. Well, now the city council's on the back foot. They know they're on the wrong side of this. They know that in an election year, a lot of them are going to lose their jobs over this buffoonery. And so now they're trying every single way they can to undo this. 3 members of the city council have outright said, well, they didn't say we made a mistake. They want to revisit that decision to charge for parking at Balboa Park. And they also are now considering, what if it's free for locals? What if it's free for Sundays? They are scared, which means it is time to not let up. It is time to keep going and show these people that what they've been doing is unacceptable. And if that can be done in San Diego, it can be done here. Of course, the difference here is that it's really hard to get the voters to pay attention to a lot in the city of Los Angeles. In Encinitas, they're thinking about bringing back red light cameras. Why? Money, that's why. They say for safety, but come on. Red light cameras pretty much are designed to generate revenue, and usually the programs close because they end up costing more revenue than they could ever generate. Finally, in the Central Valley, I found this story interesting. There's a new transit tax that might make the ballot, and one member of the Fresno Council, who is a real straight shooter, says, hey, this is a scam because we were told that this was going to be a tax that was going to fund road repair, and it's going to go towards public transit and scooters. And he doesn't like that one bit. So that was everything that made the cut sheet today. Now, we are never going to get to all of that, but those are the stories. And if you want to see them, they're all over the YouTubes. In fact, I even have playlists on my YouTube channel where I have Southern California news, Bay Area news, San Diego news, Sacramento news, and I'm trying to do my best to save them and flag them. But they're all out there. And at some point, I'll figure out a way where I can put out this list to everyone so they can see it every day. So you can see the stories that we're talking about. You can also share them with your friends and family and your social media. But there you go. That's how I do my prep every day. And I think I'm going to be doing a better job of letting you know what I researched today. Because a ton of it we never even get to talk about. Because as you can see, I had 17 cuts that made it so far. And then there were 2 late additions, because Gavin Newsom is doing this forum with Bloomberg. And Gavin Newsom starts getting asked questions about affordability, which led to energy prices, which led to him being asked, should PG&E be broken up? And he says no, because he doesn't think the state can handle that, which is an indictment of his own leadership. But also there are plenty of municipalities that can handle an energy utility, not LA, but Burbank, Glendale. They have energy utilities that are run pretty well. And then Gavin was also asked about the wealth tax. And while he's not a fan of it, he seems pretty defeated in that thing is going to make the ballot. Whether it passes is up to you. but it seems like they have enough money to collect enough signatures, and I guess there's enough pissed off people that think the billionaires are the cause of all of our problems. So that's what's going on in California today. It's the News Blitz with Randy Wang on Talk Radio 790 KABC. It's the News Blitz with Randy Wang on KABC, and I want to invite you to our live broadcast of the John Phillips Show next Friday, the 6th from noon to 3. We'll be at Gladstone's in Long Beach. You're invited. Great food, good vibes, a fun afternoon by the water. Susan Shelley from the Howard Jarvis Taxpayer Association will be with us, so join us at Gladstone's in Long Beach next Friday from noon to 3. It's the News Blitz with Randy Wang on KABC. It is the News Blitz with Randy Wang on Talk Radio 790 KABC. We're here every single day from 5 to 6 talking about the local issues that matter to you most and taking your phone calls at 800-222-5222, 1-800-222-5222, your emails at randywangradio@gmail.com, and search for the KABC News Blitz wherever you get your podcasts. So I had the pleasure of interviewing Matthew Seedorf today on the John Phillips Show. Matthew Seedorf is I don't know if he's the newest reporter. He started in 2024. He is the most exciting young reporter out there on Fox 11 because he's getting great tips. He is following them, and he is breaking stories before anybody else. The Larchmont Village prostitution, the MacArthur Park dredging up of bodies, the park in Hollywood that's a gang den, the tunnels where cars are meant to disappear in the Whittier Narrows. He is on top of a whole lot of things. Well, his story last night was pretty interesting, as in Lynwood, in a shopping center, a TSA agent was having dinner, probably after their shift at LAX. They just took the 105. Well, because a TSA agent was in uniform, somebody got a little confused and thought, oh no, ICE is here. And chaos ensued. For more, here's Fox 11 and Matthew Seedorf.
Federal agents are forced to call the LA County Sheriff's Department for backup after a crowd becomes unruly. Fox 11's Matthew Seedorf with this story in Lynwood. There's more to this one. Matthew?
Well, this appears to be a case of mistaken identity. Some TSA officers were eating dinner here. Someone thought they were ICE, and then the crowd showed up.
It'd be really funny if they were to protest them because they were TSA agents. We are so tired of getting randomly screened where you have to check all the things in my bag, and I have to explain why I have 2 Nintendo Switches.
Whistles and horns blaring of anger in Lynwood.
Pero agent got this from ICE.
A crowd of anti-ICE protesters swarming a restaurant after reports that off-duty ICE agents were inside, but law enforcement sources tell...
This is the Rapid Response Network that is funded by LA's tax dollars, hard at work, sending a whole bunch of activists and rabble-rousers to the wrong place to go after the wrong people.
But law enforcement sources tell Fox 11 this may be a case of mistaken identity. The agents weren't ICE, but instead TSA officers eating dinner.
ICE.
LA County Sheriff's deputies called in for crowd control, eventually calming the situation. Talk to y'all about what happened?
Oh, sure. Who are you guys with?
We're at Channel 11.
Oh, Fox?
Channel 11, Fox 11, yeah.
Oh, okay.
We asked an organizer.
Notice how rosy and friendly she is when she's like, oh, you're going to cover our protest? How wonderful. What channel are you with? Channel 11. You're with Fox. Mind you, there's quite a difference between the local Fox 11 News and Fox News. But sure, go ahead and paint everyone with a broad brush, just like you get pissed off that people are doing.
Talk to y'all about what happened?
Oh, sure. Who are you guys with?
We're at Channel 11.
Oh, Fox?
Channel 11, Fox 11, yeah.
Oh, okay.
We asked an organizer what happened.
No comment.
Oh, we just want to ask what happened.
No, I know, but I just don't try.
How hard is it for anybody, whether you're in politics or you're in the world of protesting, it just, where there's so much pent up tension, can anyone ever admit a mistake? Can anyone ever say, my bad, we got it wrong. Nope.
Don't trust Fox.
She refused to speak with us, saying it was because we're Fox. Did you guys think it was ice?
Potentially.
Yeah. When we turn to
How many people are just at the ready? They get a text and they're ready to go scream no matter if it's nothing. Again, this was a TSA agent having dinner. Protest.
Potentially.
When we turned to restaurant workers for answers, the organizer followed us inside, recording and telling employees in Spanish not to speak with us either.
Yeah.
Which is funny because as we learned from Seedorf, he also speak a little Spanish. Maybe he's on Duolingo. I'm level 11. How's he doing? But he's like, I know what you're saying. For some reason, she doesn't want anyone to talk to the cameras because this makes the rapid response network look a little too rapid and a little too respondy.
Yeah, sorry to you. You're not getting nobody to talk to you.
Outside, straggler
We're not going to get nobody to talk to you, which again now is also on camera. Yep, you're looking great.
Outside, straggler protesters also recording our camera, trying to stay incognito.
I think there's a place and time for everything.
This man arrived moments after the chaos ended to eat at the restaurant it all started. These are TSA agents.
You want to understand, people get very emotional, so they easily make mistakes. It happens, you take it out on the wrong people.
See, this random guy can say people make mistakes. We're all imperfect beings. I make mistakes every single day, and so do you, and so do they. But now some people just cannot admit it.
Which, same thing as ICE. They say they're after criminals, but they're taking it out on everybody.
The TSA workers eventually escorted out safely with no arrest or injuries. But
Yeah, the sheriff's department had to be called because the safety of the TSA officers was at risk because this crowd was out of control in Lynwood.
But a moment that highlights how tense emotions are across LA. So a moment of mistaken identity, but again, no arrest and no injuries. Reporting live tonight, Matthew Seedorf, Fox 11 News.
So there you go. If you get a chance, I highly recommend you download the 2 o'clock hour podcast of the John Phillips Show, which I have been filling in for all week. Johnny's back on Monday. But I really enjoyed talking to Matthew Seedorf. I think he's a great guy, and he's a lot of fun. And he is... What's great is something that I asked him about is like, you know, if people have tips, if there are stories that you don't feel are getting covered and you are not getting the response that you want from your local government, can people reach out to him? And he's like, yes. And that's how he gets stories all the time. You know, we can do what we can here, but we don't have the resources of a television station. We don't even really have a news department. I'm the news department. But what we can do is I have contacts with, now I've got Matt Seedorf's number. I've got Marla Tejas' number. And we try to do what we can to see if something can happen. And occasionally something does happen. And as we have said over and over and over again, the power of local news is to shame local government into doing the right thing. Because a lot of times they won't do that on their own. 800-222-5222 is the telephone number. It's the News Blitz with Randy Wang on KABC. It's the News Blitz with Randy Wang on KABC, and the future is now. How do I know that? Because Tesla announced that they are stopping production of their cars at their Fremont factory and turning it into a robot factory. For more, here's KPIX.
You know how people joke about robots taking over the world? It's something we had a few laughs about here on this show just over a year ago.
I bet you did.
Department. Optimus, Tesla's humanoid robot, will now be a major focus for that company, and the Bay Area is going to play a role in that. CEO Elon Musk said today that they will end production of the Model S and Model X Teslas. Instead, they'll shift gears at the Fremont factory to build the humanoid robot.
And these are robots that in an event a few years ago can like 10 bar or can serve you food. I mean, I'm going to guess at some point they could do your laundry. Maybe we've got our own Rosie running around like in the Jetsons. Who knows? And then, of course, you have to ask the question, how long is it going to be before a human violates a robot in a certain way?
The Fremont Tesla factory.
Or maybe that's allowed. Maybe that's just an attachment that you can buy for the robot.
The Fremont Tesla factory is one of the city's largest employers. It's got more than 10,000 workers. Musk says it is expected to increase those numbers as production ramps up. Andrea Nakano spent the day talking to a tech expert about what this really means for Tesla and the Fremont plant.
It's an end of an era for Tesla as two of its longest running and high-end models will be phased out of production.
Well, and there's a few reasons for this, too. Tesla is still doing pretty well in the world of EVs in the States, but internationally, they're getting killed by any country that allows these Chinese cars, the BYDs, because the BYDs are like $10,000, $20,000. And in Europe, they have even other brands. They have a lot more competition outside of the States.
The Tesla factory in Fremont is the primary hub for building both of those models.
We're going to take the Model S and X production space in our Fremont factory and convert that into an Optimus factory, which will, with the long-term goal of having 1 million units a year.
How much is the robot going to cost? And what exactly can I get the robot to do?
Of Optimus robots.
How long before people start training the robot to walk their dogs? You know, this is how prophetic, that's not a word, how much of a prophecy the movie WALL-E was. Remember that cute little Disney Pixar movie WALL-E with the little robot, and he likes the other little robot, Ava, and how pretty much humanity has become people that are on these floating lounge chairs on a cruise ship, and they're all 500 pounds. This is how it starts, people.
Of Optimus robots in the current SX space in Fremont.
This announcement didn't come as a surprise to many, including Olaf Groth, a professional faculty member at Haas School of Business at UC Berkeley.
This is a transition from being an automaker to being a physical AI company.
The shift to dive into the autonomous world comes as global competition increases in the electric car market. According to Groth, Elon Musk will face intense competition in the robotics sector as well.
Oh no, China's got robots too.
China is in fact already the largest buyer of robots globally. It is investing heavily in robot manufacturing. There is no reason to believe that they wouldn't be a formidable competitor for Mr. Musk.
Why is the Roxbury Guy song playing in the background? Oh, they were using stock footage of Elon Musk's robot party a few years ago. Can the robots do the Roxbury dance?
The only thing that we have going for ourselves at this point is that we have the R&D and science establishment to stay a step ahead.
With help from the factory in
our robots will take away jobs faster than China's. That's how we'll do it.
With help from the factory
we already saw how Flippy the robot is going to be adapted and taken over. You're going to have kiosks at the fast food instead of people taking your order. And there are so many there are jobs that are robot proof. But there are a lot of jobs that are not robot proof. And you think you white collar people are going to be fine? You pencil pushers, you paper pushers, you data people? No. We don't even need robots for that. The AI is already taking your jobs.
With help from the factory in Fremont, Musk is expected to unveil the third generation of Optimus, the first design slated for mass production later this quarter.
There is a lot of work to be done. Elon Musk says by the end of the year, he'll be selling 1 million of those.
He also said 10 years ago that his cars would be full self-driving auto taxis, and that still hasn't happened. But, at some point.
I think we're all too used to Mr. Musk being a little bit overly enthusiastic on timelines. It'll probably take us well into 2027 would be my guess.
Yeah, at what point didn't he say that he was going to build a tunnel from Hollywood to Dodger Stadium with the Boring Company? Whatever happened to that?
Musk ultimately hopes the robots will be used in factories for household chores or even help with caregiving. To some, this may be an ambitious goal for Musk and his company to accomplish, but Groth feels this is what Musk is known for.
So if the robot does the dishes, then how am I supposed to contribute to the house?
What Musk is good at is these frontier technologies, right? Getting us to adopt and to dive into the next edge. He's done that with Tesla, obviously, with SpaceX, with the Boring Company, even way back when with PayPal. And so, it might take him a few years longer than we think, but he's going to get there.
So there you go. That's some pretty big news. And by the way, good news for the people who work in Fremont. That plant is going to hire more people, and I'm guessing the skills transfer from building robot cars to building robot people. So here we go. The robot revolution has begun. It's the News Blitz with Randy Wang on KABC. It's the News Blitz with Randy Wang on KABC. Are you like me? Do you spend way too much money on streaming services and then have no idea what to watch and then end up just watching endless hours of repeats of Love Island? I know, I've got issues. Something that I need to be better at is reminding myself because it's so hard to remember what shows we like, what shows we're watching, and when they come back, because it takes like 2 years in between seasons, that I'm going to try to do a better job for myself of writing down when shows that I like are coming back, when movies that are finally available on streaming I can watch so I can get some value out of I feel like I'm paying $100 a month again for streaming. And it's come down a bit. I told you my little credit card hack with how I figured out how to get the Peacock and the Paramount for free, and you can do the bundle on the American Express Platinum card with the Hulu and the Disney and the HBO. It still gets so confusing, and God help you if you forget your password to one of these things, because you have to have 7 different passwords for 7 different services. That all being said, I'm going to, every once in a while, do a better job of reminding myself and reminding you some of the things that are out there to watch that might interest you. Like today, it's the season 4 premiere of Bridgerton. And if you don't know what Bridgerton is, ask your wife. And you should watch it with her, because I'm sure she'll enjoy it. It is pretty much porn for women, but it is very enjoyable. And they do this cool thing where they take old, they do all these old fancy 18th century balls, but they play modern music, but with like classical orchestrations while they're at the dances. It's a good time. It's stupid, but it's fun. It's interesting. That's on Netflix. Show that I really like that is coming back is this show Shrinking, which stars Jason Segel and Harrison Ford. That's on Apple TV Plus. That premiered yesterday, the 3rd season. I can't wait to watch that as soon as I stop, watching endless repeats of Love Island. And there's this movie that came out 2 weeks ago on Netflix that I really enjoyed. It's a rom-com. It's called The People We Meet on Vacation. It's really sweet. It's really fun. I thought it was a really good time, and it was a good time. Oh, yeah, and Shrinking Season 3, Michael J. Fox is going to be a guest star, so that's pretty cool, him coming back into the acting world. So those are just a couple of the things that I will be watching over the weekend in between endless repeats of old Love Islands and Love Island All-Stars, which is kind of lame so far because they've run out of All-Stars that matter. But I think that was always going to happen. Hey, thanks for participating in the show, being a part of the News Blitz. Share this show with your friends, post it on social media, and at some point I will figure out a way to get my daily list of all the stories that I get out to you. It's the News Blitz with Randy Wang on KABC.